Hello, nerds for Yang.
Hello, nerds.
Hello, nerds.
Hello, nerds.
Hello, nerds. So nerds.
Hello, nerds.
Hello,
Now with this campaign, bang, dang, it's and Drew, come roll with the gang.
Hello, nerds.
Hello, nerds.
Ronnie, my man, welcome, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm surviving.
The last time you and I were on a video together, we had Andrew Yang with us, didn't we?
No. I wasn't on the Yang interview.
Oh, but you participated in the fundraising, though.
Yes. Twice actually. Twice. The
That's
first
right.
first time with you. The second time, Paget was hosting it, I believe.
Yeah. So the last time we were on, we were talking. It was like a status update for how the fundraising is going.
Yes.
And you joined, sharing. We shared like the leaderboard, and
Yep.
Those were good times, man.
Good times. Take me back to those times, please.
Shit.
Good time.
You could go out to a restaurant. You could go watch a movie.
Whole different world, right?
Yeah, and the biggest. Oh golly! And then we also obviously we were thinking we had a shot at getting to the White House with our man Andrew, and yet here we are.
We had tons of hopes and dreams, and we were looking forward to the future.
Yeah. So what have you been up to since? How did you take the campaign suspension and life after Yang?
Oh boy, it was very, very sad week when Yang suspended his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking to Russell about it a couple times. He was very, very hurt by it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, man, it was like your heart was ripped out because we had put our blood, sweat, tears, constant hours of editing and uploading into this. And, people were helping the campaign and they were going door to door. And when he suspended his campaign, the feeling was almost indescribable. It really hurt. I know it hurt him too.
How did you handle it personally? What was it like for you?
I was sad. I was sad. I kind of was like in a weird limbo. I didn't know what to do at this point. Like I knew I was going to cover his suspension, but I was like, where do we go from here? What am I going to do as far as my channel is concerned? The future of the United States, what's going to happen? We have a bunch of clowns running, and I'm like, this is insanity. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I know for about 2 or 3 days, I was stuck in like a limbo. And I remember the words that he said, like, this is just the beginning. So when you fall down 7 times, you get back up 8. So all I can do is keep striving forward. That's all I can do.
And what do you think would have happened if he just stayed running? Do you think anything would have changed?
Hindsight is 2020, right? Looking at the shape of things now, we can sit back and say, Yang would have had this in the bag. But at the time, and even he was saying this numerically, facts over feelings, right? Numerically, it didn't look like it was going to go in his favor. But looking back on it, Yang would have easily swept these goofballs we got running right now. So I think if he would have held in there, it could have been something different.
Yeah, I think had he stayed in, he would have locked in for sure a cabinet position,
right?
And maybe even if he did better than expected, he might have been able to make a claim for the VP slot, which would have been great. But at the same time, what's your take on why New Hampshire, and Iowa were so freaking piss poor in terms of turnout for Yang. I mean, we obviously on the internet and Twitter and YouTube, but you look at his events, he was drawing big crowds.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell happened there?
Politics is a funny business. It's a funny game. You can have great crowds, but then when it comes time for the polls, those people don't necessarily turn out. I think one of the issues that Andrew Yang had was people didn't take him serious. And then afterwards, they were like, wait a minute. This guy was the answer all along. A lot of people, the case the Dems were making at the time was electability. So people were like, I like Yang, but I don't know if he's electable, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. Again, I'll say it again, hindsight is 2020. And a lot of people, they said this guy makes sense. He's brilliant. I like what he's saying, but I don't think he's gonna be electable.
And they didn't want to take chances.
They didn't want to take any chances.
Yeah. And so they got this kind of middle of the road. We know what we're getting candidate.
Yep.
And I don't blame them for that. I mean, I could see the kind of thought process there. What's your take on what Yang should do next? You think he should run for mayor? You think he should go for 2024? Both? Something else?
I think he should absolutely run for 2024. Look, nobody is satisfied with either of these candidates. They both leave a bad taste in your mouth. It's sort of like, right? But we're making do with what we got, right? So I think if Yang ran again, he would do much, much better. The Yang gang is out there. We got people like Erica Simone running. There's a lot of people. We're stronger than we were during the beginning. It may not seem like it at times, but we are. We went through it. We went through the trenches, and we're stronger than we ever were. People now see the mistakes that they made. Yang is more recognizable than ever, right? His campaign ended. He continued to give people money. He still kept looking out for people. We've got cities trying to implement UBI and play around with it. I think he would do a fantastic. If he keeps doing exactly what he's doing now, if he ran in 2024, he would do much, much better. So I think he should absolutely run in 2024. I think that's goals. And I think he'd pretty much dominate almost anybody that came across his threshold. I'm telling you, he's quick off the cuff. He's great during debates. I remember during debates, he was like the only adult in the room.
I agree. At the same time, like if you look at how like the percentage of votes he got, I mean, it was small single digits in both Iowa and New Hampshire. And these are people who, in theory, spent a lot of time getting to know all the candidates. Mm-hmm. I wonder, I don't know, let me just put this out there. Do you think his ethnicity made him seem less electable?
It definitely played a part, for sure. Maybe a lot of people weren't ready for an Asian president, unfortunately to say. However, I do think it's possible. If we can get a guy in there called Barack Hussein Obama, then you can get an Andrew Yang in there. 100%. He's a very likable person. When I met him in New Hampshire, I wasn't nervous. You know what I mean? He was very down to earth. We chatted it up. We talked, and I was like, if everybody got this opportunity that I just got right now, they would vote for Yang in a heartbeat. And this is just anecdotal, and this is just me guessing, but I don't think I'd have that same interaction with a Joe Biden. I wouldn't have that same interaction with an Elizabeth Warren, right? He was just very down to earth, and I feel like he's just a people person. And, ethnicity would be minor in the long run of things.
No, he's definitely real and authentic, and he seems, just in the conversations I've had with him, like very warm and approachable. I think the rub is like not everyone is going to get that one-on-one time with them, and they're going to get their information from what the nightly news or what CNN or Fox is saying. And that media blackout, like they never took him seriously.
Never. They called him the wrong name multiple times.
Yeah.
The wrong picture on the screen, and it was disrespectful at the end of the day.
Yeah,
that's really what it was. And this guy is competing against mayors and people who've been in politics for so long, and did better than majority of them. Nobody believed that a guy nobody knew 7 minutes ago would do that well.
Yeah.
They should have definitely treated him with more respect. And now look, what he was running on now is more alive than ever, right? It's more relevant than ever. UBI, the case for UBI. Who could say no to UBI right now? What person is saying no to UBI? I mean, besides Stuart Varney on Fox Business, right? Who's saying no to UBI? When he said 10 years and 10 weeks, that is more relevant than ever. Men's Warehouse just filed for bankruptcy. Lane Bryant just closing all their stores. I mean, it's brick and mortar's done, right? Yeah. So, I mean, he was more correct than anybody could have ever imagined.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is I think for 2024, he will not start from the same place that he obviously did in 2020, and having some more airtime on CNN. I think that's great. Yep. Your comment about how UBI there's such a clear case for it now, and how you look across the economy, there's plenty of examples of real struggle. Have you seen this video where Larry Kudlow talks about the state of the economy? Have you seen a clip of that?
I haven't.
All right, dude, let me share that. It's like watching a man in another world. Hold on, share audio. Hold on. Let's see. Go back here.
The economy will reopen. We did. And now cases have skyrocketed and the economy appears to be taking yet another hit. Isn't it clear that the country reopened too quickly, wiping away the progress that had been made, prolonging harm to the economy?
Well, Jake, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of generalizations there. First of all, I don't think the economy is going south. I think it's going north. And I think there's a bunch of indicators. Let me focus on that. I know something about that. You're in a housing boom right now. You're in a retail sales boom right now. You're in an auto car boom right now. Manufacturing, look at the ISM indexes, all are booming. New business applications are skyrocketing. Apple Mobility Index is very strong. And the jobs picture remains strong. There was a number of unemployment claims last week that slipped, but it was a seasonal adjustment problem. It's actually the lowest since early March. Continuing claims, which is going to predict the July jobs number out in a week or so, are the lowest they've been in almost 3 months. So I don't buy it. Now, I will acknowledge that in some of these spiking hotspots, yes, absolutely, you're going to see a moderation of this recovery.
So basically, everything's awesome. We're winning.
All right. I literally just got through saying people are filing for bankruptcy, shutting down. But if that's not enough, okay, so for my job, my full-time job, okay?
Yeah.
We literally let go of 80% of my staff. Not furloughed, fired. Okay? So let's talk about what's happening. So it's literally me and one other person. There's two people running a store. Me, the manager, and then a key holder. So not only did they fire those other people, those positions don't exist. I mean, you can't even apply for those positions, okay? So also the store's operating time is cut in half, right? So it used to be open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., right? It is now 12 to 7, okay? But I'm there 9 a.m. to 8. And you know what we're doing? What I'm doing during those first couple of hours? I'm shipping out customer orders, online orders for the first 3 hours. And then the last hour, shipping out online orders. So they have a smaller staff operating, doing even more than what we were doing at a smaller scale. Like we have less people doing what we were doing before. And we're seeing, and it's not just me. If I were to go to all the other managers in the stores near me, it's all the same thing. So what he's saying is bullshit. But it's like George Carlin was saying, they live in a bubble and they're spitting out into an echo chamber, and they really do not care. They don't care, right? The world is burning before them, and they're like, what are you talking about? Things are great. Listen, unemployment numbers are still hitting. The highest unemployment was, and it was around the subprime mortgage crisis, the Great Recession. It was like 600,000 in a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since COVID, it's been in the millions. So, okay, it's less than it was in 3 months ago. It's still in the millions. That is not okay. It's not good. Like, these people are. It's almost impressive how wrong they could be and say it with a straight face.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the chart here for unemployment. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I mean, that's not a great. I think what Kudlow is, he's making an argument that there's a great improvement,
right?
In that it's now here and not here. But like, I don't know, man.
It's still not okay.
This is worse than like, remember the global financial crisis was around here.
Yes, it's still not. We're still worse off.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, not only did they fire those people, those positions can't even be applied to. So so people that are unemployed and are looking for jobs can't even apply for those positions. So they're stuck. And what is it? Is this the last week, or is next week the last week of the extra $600 for people?
Yeah.
Come on. And then when the moratorium on rent is done with, whenever that is, there's going to be an eviction crisis like we've never seen. Come on, man. Like,
it's it seems, and I wonder, like, what do Trump supporters think when they hear all of this like rosy talk? Because it doesn't seem to align with the reality that a lot of us are seeing on the ground. Like, as an example, I mean, I live in the Bay Area now. It's generally a
congratulations on the move.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
back in the U.S. of A.
I see.
And it's crazy. Like restaurants, they don't have dine-in, so I'm sure they're not hiring as many waiters. Mm-hmm. Stores have reduced hours.
Yep.
There's fewer cars on the road. Like, you just know that this is not this boom. I wouldn't call the economy booming the way that the Trump administration. Like, what planet are they on to say that? So, like, who would believe that stuff? It seems crazy, right?
My commute to work, pre-COVID, my commute to work, I always had to leave a bit extra early because I know I'd be sitting in traffic. The morning traffic's going to be nuts. Now, straight arrow, nothing.
Yeah.
I got time to stop, get coffee.
It's one of the benefits. Yeah.
Nobody's on the road. So I don't, they want to pretend everything's okay. You hear it in their rhetoric. They're talking about going back to school. They're talking about we're not going to close the economy back down. Mm-hmm. They're continuing like nothing's even wrong, but the reality of the situation is there's still a major problem, and then it's not being addressed.
So, Ronnie, what are you going to do in November, man? I mean, I know we were fired up about the Asian dude, but he's not on the menu anymore. So now you said the two leave a bad taste in your mouth. I mean, certainly for me, Biden, it's like kind of like toast, like not great toast.
Right.
And I'll eat it and it gives me some food. It's better than, but the other option is like eating something that's like maybe not safe for you,
Okay. So my stance originally was I wasn't voting for either of them. Like, I was very hard set on Biden didn't earn my handsy Uncle Joe didn't earn my vote. Obviously, neither did Donald Trump. The Tara Reade thing was very fresh. Biden was denying, trying to, take away Social Security in the past. Dude wrote the crime bill. I was very much against both of them, and I was all for, if you want to write in Yang. People are saying, oh, that's throwing your vote away, but I think that's very patriotic to vote, to put in who best suits your interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Trump lately if it's even possible, has gotten even more authoritarian, and it's getting a little spooky, right? So you can't have federal agents scooping random people up, right? Was that in Portland? And he wants to send more to more cities. You can't. You can't do that. And then I saw him on Fox News, who throws them easy passes all the time. They throw them easy passes, but they got just a little. They started doing a little bit more journalism, and they were like, "So, what happens if Biden wins?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. It's fake news. I don't think that if the polls come in, I don't think it's real. So I got to think about it." He's like, "But if he wins, like, are you going to bow out gracefully? I don't know. When it happens, I got to see. I don't know. It may not be real. It may not be real." What do you mean? If Biden wins, get the fuck out. What are you talking? There is no we'll see. What do you mean? You can't put that in any other instance. If I got fired and they're like, "Ron, you got to go," I'm like, "I don't know. I don't think I'm really fired. I don't think you guys are serious.
Let's see what happens.
We'll see. I think I'm clocking in tomorrow." Like, what are you talking about? And look, even if the polls are off, even if the polls are slightly askew, because they're saying the average is Biden is up by like 10 points. Even if that's off, okay, he's up by 6 points. That's still a huge amount. During this time last election, Hillary was up by like 3 points. It was still within the margin of error. Like Biden's got a gigantic lead, and I don't like Sleepy Joe, but he's got a huge lead. And Trump could have easily said, "You know what? Screw it. We're going to do UBI for 3 months. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. We're doing UBI for 3 months. Get it on your feet." He could have, oh my God, he could have easily won this election. He had it in the bag. Do UBI for 3 months, but I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because the people need it. I'm going to do UBI. He could have did that. He could have like, wear a mask. Don't be punks. I wear a mask. I'm a man. Like, he could have done anything, but he literally threw this election away to a guy that won't leave the basement. So if he continues this authoritarian like rhetoric, I might have to cast it for Joe, and I really don't want to. Like, I'm gonna be squeamish. I'm gonna be sick for 3 days, but I might have to do that. Like, you can't.
I don't blame you, Ronnie.
You can't be picking people up in Portland with federal agents. Like, what are you doing? Throwing them in? They don't know who you are. Throwing them in unmarked vehicles. What are you doing, bro? That's crazy.
I think on top of that, I have some family members, actually multiple family members who are big Trump people, and they are really lapping up this narrative that there's a race war coming to the country, and that every suburb is going to be like overrun with like BLM rioters taking all their porcelain and jewelry. And it's like, guys, what the hell are you watching? But then sometimes when I turn on Fox News, it looks like that. It looks like World War III is happening right now.
Well, yeah, they're selectively choosing and playing over the same clips over and over again. I've denounced destroying property and doing all that other bullshit that's not helping anybody at all. Like, I've denounced that. You can denounce that stuff and still be okay with Black Lives Matter. You can do both, right? But some people think, no, it's all or nothing. No, much to the dismay of much of my African-American viewers, I tell them I don't like that. To be honest, I wasn't even a Black Lives Matter fan, and still I'm kind of skeptical. Do you remember when Sanders were running? Like, they went to his event and like stormed the stage.
Oh yeah,
and took them. I'm like, what are you doing, Bert? Listen, even if you disagree with Bernie Sanders' policies, like, he's not on your side. Like, why are you taking the mic from him and doing all these demands? So like, there was no leadership, right? As far as like defund the police go, no, I'm actually not for defunding the police. However, by saying this, they are getting common sense answers. So Fox News went out, they interviewed a bunch of people. It's kind of like in like an effort to show like, look at these guys talking about defund the police. What's wrong with them? So they're interviewing people, and people are like, no, I'm not for defunding the police, but I am for common sense regulation and A, B, C, D. They're naming all these things that I'm for. I'm like, oh, okay. So if they're aiming super high, almost to the point of ridiculousness, they're getting the common sense regulation. Okay, keep shouting that crazy stuff, and let us get the common sense regulations, like about body cams and stuff along those lines. Yeah, I'm for that. But I honestly don't think an actual defunding the police is going to happen across all states. That's just not going to happen, no matter who you put in the office.
Yeah, I would agree with you. That whole defund the police, even the name is terribly worded. But for me, I feel like Trump is taking full advantage of that and painting this sort of caricature of not just BLM, but also just Democrats and progressives who are sympathetic to the cause.
Right.
And suddenly saying like, oh, if you vote for Biden, you're for mob rule. It's like, no, dude, that does not represent the alternative at all. And I kind of feel like, I know you're a little bit ambivalent because I know Biden's not top of your list. I will say that if we have a landslide and we take back the Senate and the House, it will be very hard for Trump to try any funny business and say, oh, I don't want to count the Florida mail-in ballots, or, the Ohio polls, we need to recheck this and that. Like, I would not be surprised if it's close, if he tries some BS just for pride.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised at that either. But if it's a landslide, you got to go. They're not going to listen. Like, if you lose, right, your federal thugs or whatever you want to call them, they're not going to listen to you. They're going to be like, well, you're not the president. Like, on paper, you're not the president. Like, even if we like you or dislike you, or it's not going to be a coup, right? You got to go. They're going to escort you out of the building. You don't even want to be here. So you don't even want to stay in the White House. So just they'd escort him out. I don't think he'd have the ability to keep his ass in the White House. They're going to escort him out.
Now, if it's 52-48 or 51-49,
he could ask for a recount of some sort.
Would you be shocked if if Barr comes out in front of the cameras like, oh, we need to investigate this, or a lot of irregularities and such a state, and we need to make sure every vote is counted, but every vote is legitimate, and that's the bedrock of democracy, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, like, mofo won't leave.
And if it's that close, I can't be too mad. None of the remember what happened with Pete and Sanders? Yeah. You know what I mean? They asked for a recount, redo this over. They kept asking for a recount, and I was okay with that, asking for a recount. So if it's that close and he does ask for a recount, I'm not going to be, going nuts and go ape shit. Like, ask for your recount. But when you get the second count, if you lost, move along, sir.
Yeah. So what have you been doing with your channel? How has your content strategy sort of and focus changed, or is it stay the course, ever since the campaign suspended?
Well, actually, today this week I took a week off. I didn't upload anything this week because I had to, with work, it's been nuts. So I took a week off. But my content in general, it's still very Yang focused and Yang centric. I still talk about, Andrew Yang quite often, but instead of being 90% about Yang, now it's about, I'd say it's like 70% Yang, and the rest is like news and what's going on in the political sphere right now. I talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and stuff like that, because that's what's happening in 2020. And, Yang is still very much relevant, but there's other stuff to cover as well, because it is Read My Lips news and politics. So I'm still going to cover the news, but, I just keep pumping it out. But I have noticed, and, Paget said the same thing, even though her numbers have kind of gone back up because she's consistent. But Russell said the same thing. There was definitely a drop.
Oh, yeah.
There was a drop. There was one time, like, minimum, I'm getting like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 views. I was busting out 15K views a video. That has very much changed, right?
Yeah.
But that's across, the spectrum as far as the Yang channel. Some Yang channels aren't even up anymore. Yeah. But continue to appease, my audience, and I'll keep pumping out videos, and eventually Yang will run again and they'll go back up.
Yeah, I think let me show you for the Nerds channel, since we're two YouTubers. Let me pull up my analytics.
While you do this,
Yeah.
I just gotta say, my heart was broken, Tom.
Oh,
My heart was broke by you.
oh no! What happened?
You know, I mean, with as far as like on the dashboard and your goodbye for that was very sad. I watched that video. You had a compilation at the end,
Yeah.
and I was like, you've sort of become forever YouTuber, right? Whether it's PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, whoever, right? When you log on to your dashboard, your face is there. Right.
Used to be, yeah.
Used to be. So I was accustomed to seeing you every day when I log on to check my analytics or to see what's going on. And then I see the video and I'm like, goodbye. What are you talking about? And I watch it and it was legitimately sad. It was, even though I know you're only a reach away, I can see you on Twitter, right? But it was sad because I feel like you were a part of our norm. Do you know what I mean?
I totally do, brother. Yeah, I mean,
I shed a tear. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It was so weird when I shot that. So for those who aren't familiar, I have a day job. This isn't my full-time thing, and my day job is I work in technology, and I used to work at YouTube until recently. And one of the things I did was shoot videos for YouTube creators to tell them about what changes and improvements and new tools we were coming out with. And I would shoot these videos for the last almost 4 years. Would do these weekly updates, and it was definitely hard because you form even though I obviously wasn't able to meet all of our creators, you have a connection, man. Like when you're talking about stuff, and then because of this channel, like I was eating that dog food, and I was finding those bugs too. I was like, God damn it! Like, why isn't this working? So I felt the pain. But yeah, thank you for saying that.
You've helped so many people's career, like for little things like that we don't know about, and then we'll watch you. And I forget your co-star. Like there was like another girl that I saw often on there, and they talk about like cursing. Okay, you don't say this word, and within 40-50 seconds, and like there were so many little tidbits that helped out with becoming a YouTube creator. And you learned about monetization, and you learned about watch time, and you learned about retention. So many little things was right at our fingertips, and you were the face of that for so many years. And so thank you for helping us out. I really appreciate it, brother.
Hey, dude, that was my pleasure. And the channel is still going strong, and we've got lots of people on the team that are have taken the baton and continuing that conversation. But let me show you my analytics using the good old YouTube Studio. I mean, this was during the campaign.
Yep.
And look at this. I mean, I'm just barely a few hundred views a day now, and it used to be 10,000 views a day. 13,000 views. 15,000 views.
You're a larger channel than me. I'm trying to hit 4,000 subs. I'm like shy of 4,000 subs. You're a larger channel than me. And look at the drop your channel. And it's safe to say you were part of the face of the Yang campaign. Do you know what I mean? Of the movement that was happening. You're one of the faces. Paget's one of the faces. Russell's one of the faces. Erica's one of the faces. There's so many people that really stuck out, so to speak. So for you to take that dip, imagine people like my channel.
You know what I mean? It's tough, dude. I mean, if you're still uploading now, you've got like a lot of grit, and you're playing the long game, because we're clearly not doing it to become famous now.
Right. It's not to become famous.
No. But I have to say, what's been great is, even though our audience the views has not been as high, I feel like there's a hardcore audience for the Nerds channel, and I'm sure also for Read My Lips, that 100%. You're like, okay, there's some OG fans that are sticking with you, and that makes it so much easier to keep plugging away, right?
I know Trumper is going to watch it. I know Stormwatcher is going to watch it. I know Tamar is going to watch it. Mel is going to watch it. Elizabeth is going to watch it. Yeah, I know if I do an upload within the next 2 days, there are going to be a certain amount of people that are going to watch it no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And so and we start to feel like family. Like I look at you guys like family, even if it's distant cousins, right? You're gonna watch it, and I feel like I'm talking directly to you guys, so it makes it a lot easier to continue to upload every day for you guys, because I'm uploading for my family essentially.
Yeah, so let's take a look at your channel, just for those who are not familiar with it. I think we all look at that nice little avatar going on.
Yeah, man.
You're not messing around.
I'm not messing around.
And are you well, as you can see, I'm already subscribed. Yep. Do you have are you thinking about enabling channel memberships at some point, or is there like a subs min for that?
You have to have at least 10K subs.
I should know that, I guess. Yeah.
You shouldn't. You taught me that. You gotta have 10K.
Hopefully, well, everybody who's watching this, please subscribe to Read My Lips. Ronnie's a good guy. He's a very reasonable, no BS guy. And I would argue, like, you don't necessarily go direct party line either. You have kind of an independent view, right?
I am 100% independent. I don't play red versus blue. I'll call each of them out. You know, when the Dems screw up, I'm going to call them out. When the Republicans screw up, I'm going to call them out. You should really scroll to one of my videos and check out the intro. I'm very proud of the intro.
Oh, the trailer.
Or any one of my recent videos
to the video. Okay, sir.
Yes,
let me share with audio so that people can hear the intro. Chrome, Read My Lips, share audio, and I'm just gonna play like this one. Andrew Yang wants you to get paid.
Sure.
Whoa, fire.
Fire, right? Beautiful. I love that.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, came a long way.
Yeah.
When I first started, I didn't even show my face, right? It was just clips and it was just audio. And the first time I showed my face was when I interviewed Russell, right? Because I did a video, it was Andrew Yang converts Republican, and it was Russell, right?
Of course.
And I think that video did like 10,000 views, and people are like, you should really interview him. So I interviewed him, but he was like, you're going to have to show your face, man. You got to show your face. So that was the first time. And I was
the great unveiling. Yeah. I'm back. Yeah.
I'm back. Awesome. Back like we never left, baby.
So like what are you fired up about in terms of are you getting involved with any of the congressional candidates? Are you more kind of keeping your powder dry for 2024? Like, what are you passionate about these days?
I'm very much, well, first of all, I'm curious as to what's going to happen. It's like watching a real-time soap opera with our lives on the line.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy with like the smaller candidates recently. Like we had a big win. Was it Jamal and a whole bunch of other people are winning. A lot of progressives, a lot of people for UBI. So, and it's not really being talked about as much as it should be. I mean, independent media is covering it and stuff like that, but we're doing really well. And then I'm happy to see some of the Yang Gang getting into the political sphere even more. That's very, very cool. And I'm just like watching it play out, and I'm gonna cover all that. And really, I'm looking forward to 2024. Like, I'm strapped in, and I'm seeing what's gonna happen. But I'm very passionate about what's gonna happen with Ghislaine Maxwell. That's on my sphere right now. I think that has a potential.
Ghislaine, the associate of Epstein, right?
Epstein. Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to her? Do you think she'll give names?
For immunity, I'm sure she would. I think, I mean, and this is obviously all, theory, but she could have the potential to do major shifts in not only the US, but the world by dropping certain names. I mean, from that little black book. So I'm very curious to see what could happen. There could be some people in power that get revealed. You know, I don't want to throw conspiracy theories out there, but obviously this was happening, right? The Epstein thing was happening. So name the players and let's see the domino effect that it causes.
Yeah, there is that prince. Wasn't there someone in the royal family?
Yeah. That said, but they said he had nothing to do with it. He had.
Yeah, I saw that interview with him. He didn't sound super
confident.
Innocent. Yeah.
Right. So let's see if she can stay alive.
Right.
And if she drops names, and I have no doubt in my mind they'd give her immunity to reveal some big names. So that's what I've been keeping an eye on. I've been keeping an eye on these latest places where mayors are wanting to implement UBI, like trial runs.
Yeah.
See how that goes. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of action going on. It's not quite the same as obviously with our man Andrew.
Right.
What's your take on the state of the Yang Gang? Like, do you think we're in a healthy state, in a transitional state? Like, what's your sense of the community?
Okay, so from what I've seen, there is different subgroups, if that's the way I want to word it. Within the Yang Gang, there's different pockets, right? They all advocate for Andrew Yang. They all want Andrew Yang, but there's different pockets. And you really see that if you were to go on Facebook, for instance, and go to different groups, like the Andrew Yang base camp and stuff like that. All very much different. All have different views. And yeah, we're definitely in different pockets, which was completely different than when he was running. I felt like we were definitely all on one accord.
Right.
It's not the same anymore. The end result is the same. They all want Andrew Yang, but there's definitely different pockets. And I mean, some groups I won't even enter in at this point, to be honest. So
it is, I noticed that too, in that when the campaign was going, we were all rowing in the same direction. And it was only a positive. It was like, wow, look how awesome this is. We have people from all kind of political and backgrounds and perspectives, and we all want, to just make America think harder, freedom dividend, democracy dollars. Like, we want this guy who's really smart.
Yep.
And then now you're really seeing that diversity where you're it's almost like, oh shoot, I didn't know you advocated this.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of an adjustment, for me as well, because I've seen some folks who are like, there's a camp that's the blow up the whole system camp, right?
Yep.
And I think I was on Twitter, and people were talking about like, oh, these suits, these people that work at big corporations, and and I was thinking, oh shit, that's they're not all that bad, guys. Come on now.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely
right.
Because Yang was a unity candidate. Elizabeth Warren tried to say she was a unity candidate. Wrong. But Yang was really a unity candidate. He crossed thresholds. So that's why we can have people like Trumper for Yang, right? Who I can say I agree with him on some things, but we don't see eye to eye on everything. But Yang united us. But then there are people who Yang united us, and then after he left, like, we don't agree on anything, right? Yeah. And it's quite interesting how he was that glue.
Yes.
And
I worry. I mean, on the one hand, it speaks to his ability to unify, and like if he could pull such a disparate group of people together, like imagine what he could potentially do in the White House.
Right.
On the other hand, I wonder, like, oh, well, what is the unifying principle for the Yang Gang if parts of us are so fired up in different directions? Like, obviously, there's the whole Biden versus Trump versus dark horse duo kind of thing. What was your read on that kind of debate?
Well, the dark horse duo, I covered that on the channel, and I mean, I loved it. but I'm also a realist, and I didn't think it was going to happen. And I have to keep it real. I could have easily went on the channel and said, yes, this is going to happen. We got this. But I don't want to bullshit anybody watching. I was like, I love this idea, right? I didn't know much about what was going on. I kind of saw it a bit late, right? And so I watched it, internalized it, and I said, this sounds great, but I don't think it's going to happen. And it's not going to happen. Not in 2020. Not in 2020, unfortunately. It was a bit too late.
What do you think? You think Yang in 2024 should go for it within the within the Democratic Party again, or do you think he should go his own way?
So I covered this. Well, it was actually, would you vote for Yang if he was Republican? That was the video, and it got a really, really good reception. So on the surface, I said if he had the same solutions and he was saying the same rhetoric he was saying now, sure. Because I identify as independent, so I don't play red versus blue. So if he's bringing the correct solutions, yeah, sure I would. Or if he was independent or whatever you want to call it, and he's giving the same solutions, yeah, of course. It's really hard for a third-party candidate, the way the system is structured, for a third-party candidate to win. I do personally think he should continue to run on the Democratic side. I don't think the GOP, and I'm not talking about the everyday Susan Everybody and Johnny Know Nothings. I'm talking about the establishment themselves. I don't think they would welcome a Yang because of his humanity first, the way he carries himself and the things he believes in. I don't think the GOP would quite appreciate it. That's just my personal opinion.
You think his style, or is it like specific positions, or?
He's very much for the people. He's for putting money in people's pockets. Let's look at the recent, give people money for this couple months during the pandemic. Yang was for that, right? Who wasn't for that?
Yeah,
the Republicans. And even the Dems were finicky on it because they passed 5 stimulus bills, right? They only put the $1,200 in there once.
Yeah.
And then, they've been mentioning it as of late, but there's no reason for the Senate to approve it at this point. What do you got to give them? Unless you got something to give them, they're not going to put it in there. They don't give a fuck. So Yang's very much a humanitarian. He's very much humanity first. And I just don't see the GOP that way. I really don't. They're not showing me that.
Yeah. Yeah. They haven't exhibited that lately. I don't know how much of that is like sort of the Trump effect, because, there was a time when the Republican Party was very much open to innovative, data-driven ideas that solve problems, that bypass sometimes a lot of government waste.
Yep.
And so I don't know, like you could argue basic income is as much a Republican idea as it could be a Democratic one.
It was. And there were, and the people were for it. That's why one of the reasons he was a unifying candidate. I know plenty of Republicans that were for. What's going on, James?
What up, James?
I hope you're not on the road typing this. Hope you're not driving and nerding.
Fred the Felon does that shit too.
Oh,
and I'm like, dude, this is scaring the crap out of me. Like, I did the interview with him, and he was literally driving. I was like, dude,
come on, man.
I cannot watch you freaking drive into something on the live stream.
Well, Fred's not afraid of much. Like, so I could see him completely doing that. 100%.
Yeah. So
the party, I think the Republican Party has gone farther right. And the Democratic Party, for the most part, are like moderate Republicans. Besides the far left, you've got some far left candidates in there, but like as a whole, I think they're moderate Republicans. Don't they approve everything almost the Republicans ask for?
Who are you?
Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. They're not progressive.
All the different labels have changed dramatically. Like, my brother loves to give me crap for saying, "Hey, you're so pro Democrat now. You used to be a Republican."
Right.
And I'm like, well, frankly, I don't identify with this Republican Party anymore. It's not like my policy positions have changed that much.
Right.
You know, so do you have any thoughts on the VP race? Like, who would you like to see Biden pick, or do you care?
I mean, okay. So how can I say this? Should I be politically correct?
Nah.
So I really don't care about the gender of the VP. It really absolutely means nothing to me. So like, I'm not sure like what this, we have to pick a woman VP is. Just pick the best person for the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gender is the icing on the cake, right? Mm-hmm. The ethnicity is the icing on the cake. I've always been about policies, right? So you can pick a woman of color and I can completely disagree with her policies and it's done nothing for me. It's always policies. That's what it always comes down to for me personally. Now I know that's not like that for everybody. Some people love, they vote based off of emotion. They vote based off of, gender. They vote based off of ethnicity. All I care about is policies. What's going to help take this boot off of my neck? I don't need you to pander to me socially. I need you to help us economically, right? So I'll be completely honest. As far as like picking a woman and picking a certain gender and all that stuff, that honestly, that was on the back burner for me. I just want somebody that's going to help Biden make the right decision. So like being like, Stacey Abrams, I'm like, I that doesn't do anything for me.
I mean, obviously, I'm guessing both of us would love to see Andrew there. I think it's kind of not going to happen, obviously, because Biden committed to picking a woman. Are there particular? So Stacey Abrams not doing much for you. I've watched her speak a few times. I feel like there was a lot of hype around her, but I don't really get that. Like, why?
Well, because she went like on sort of like a camp, like she wasn't considered yet, but she went like on a campaign, like interviewing like around all these places. I was never a Stacey Abrams fan, but what did it for me was I was covering the Tara Reade thing heavily. And so they asked Stacey about the Tara Reade issue. And she goes, I believe Biden. And the New York Times covered it and said what Stacey said, Tara said wasn't credible, and they debunked it. So I'm siding with Biden. I read that New York Times article. They never said such a thing, to the point where the New York Times came out and had to say, whoa. We never said anything like that. That's a complete lie. So she just like lied on camera in front of everybody just so she can side with Biden. And I'm like, come on. Like, so I don't know. I'm not a Stacey fan. I wasn't a Klobuchar fan, but she backed away because she says it should be a woman of color. So she backed away. Obviously, my choice would have been Andrew Yang. I would have liked to see a Tulsi Gabbard. She's a woman of color, right? And she actually had a message, right? Ending the regime change wars. And I know not everybody's her fan, but I think she was a very strong candidate. She got the shaft because she completely decimated Kamala Harris. And so they were like, we're done with her. But no, none of the people that's been touted have done anything for me, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. Although I would pick all of them over Mike Pence. I find Mike Pence to be kind of like spineless.
He doesn't believe in science. So yeah. I don't want a Mike Pence. He's Trump without the mean tweets. So let's stay away from Pence.
Oh, by the way, James is he's in a dock. He's parked in the dock. He's getting loaded. He is not driving on the highway. Thank you, James. We appreciate you putting safety first. And when is your next live stream, Ronnie?
Next Sunday. It usually do it on Sundays. So next Sunday will be my next live stream, and it'll be like 2 hours.
Right.
So everybody log in and to watch that. So it's tea with Ronnie. So I'll get some tea. I'll sip some tea, and I'll give him the straight dope, and we'll just chat it up for 2 hours. And the time goes by like this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The time goes by like this. So next Sunday for sure, I promise you.
What kind of tea do you brew over there?
Every time it's different, right? So it could be black tea, it could be green tea. I might get some pomegranate. I mix it up, and I just sip tea.
You ever rock the bubble tea, the boba tea?
No, what's that?
Oh shit!
I don't know what boba tea is.
Man, oh
Am I
my
late?
God.
Am I late?
Freaking hey, dude!
What's boba tea?
So it's basically like a usually it's a iced tea with it's often the classic is a black tea with a little bit of milk, a little sugar, but they have these like little tapioca balls, and then you kind of drink it through like a large straw. So you get the tea and these like little tapioca things that are kind of like chewy, kind of I don't know. It's
where do you get it from? Like I go to Starbucks, Dunkin', Tim Hortons. Where do you get it?
Go to a bubble tea or boba tea place, like they're specialized.
Okay,
but I'm guessing like if you're ever in the city, there should be a whole bunch of them.
Boba tea. I'm gonna have to try that now. It's on my bucket list now,
brother. Man, it is like when I was last in the Bay Area for Thanksgiving, I had boba like every other day. The one downside is that I think it does have there's some carbohydrates. It's not a slimming drink.
Okay, all right.
So I got a little bit of boba belly.
Boba belly.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So check it out.
I'll be honest. I was in the gym 5 days a week, but since quarantine and since the gyms have reopened, I have not gone to the gym. First of all, I can't see myself. I mean, I still got the, I'm still. Yeah, but I can't see myself lifting with a mask on. I can't see myself on the bike or the treadmill. I feel like I'd pass out.
Yeah,
I don't see how I can do it with the mask.
I saw someone jogging the other day with the mask on, and I was like, "Whoa!"
And it's super hot over here. Well, LA is probably hot too, but I'm in Connecticut, and it's freaking hot over here right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe at nighttime, I guess you could get a run in.
Well, my gym usually I would go at night, so my gym was 24 hours, but now they're on limited hours, so I'd have to go like in the afternoon when it's packed or in the morning. I just can't see myself with the mask on, like on the treadmill.
We need this vaccine, man. Need that shit.
So wait, so let me ask you: Are you? If they came to you and said, "Tom, we've got this vaccine. We want you to be one of the first to take it." You taking it?
I would first do a little research and see if the EU and Germany has approved it.
Yep.
I'm a little bit concerned that there's a risk we're so eager to approve it before the election that I don't know, we may cut some corners.
Yeah.
But if the EU approves it and I do my research on the testing and the trials, then I probably would get it because I'm very eager to go back to like being able to live again. On the other hand, I get it. Like I get the risk that if we kind of are too, if we're not careful, that this vaccine may get pushed out too quickly. And that's why I was listening to this podcast with who was it? It was Axelrod. And he was saying the Obama campaign manager, and he was saying, or campaign advisor, he was saying, well, no matter what, a vaccine is going to be announced by Trump before Election Day. It's unclear. It's unclear if it will really be available or if it's safe.
That's not going to save him.
Yeah. I mean, he'll try it. He'll have like Kudlow talking about the booming economy, and he'll say now we have vaccine for everybody, the same way he said everybody could get a test within 3 minutes and all this.
Right. Look, if you would have asked me 4 or 5 months ago, I said Trump would have this in the bag. There was no way, Joe Biden was going to get on stage with Trump and have a good debate. Trump would eat him alive on stage. I feel like he's very aggressive. He's very good off the cuff. He's quick-witted when it comes to that sort of thing. So I said, he's going to dismantle him on stage, but I really think he's dug his hole, and announcing a vaccine isn't going to help him either at this point. Just me. That's how I feel personally. I'm with you. I would do a lot of research before I took it because I do feel like they're trying to rush one out. I think it was like Bill and Melinda Gates that were saying like minorities, should take them first. They should take the vaccine first. I was like, hold on, calm down. Let's take it together. You go first. What the hell? What you mean? You take it first.
Yeah. I mean,
why are you looking woozy?
Clearly, it cannot drink the cup in front of me. Yeah, so I do think in the long run that it will be a game changer, and it's not the first time that we've had vaccinations,
right?
But yeah, let's hopefully let's hold the Food and Drug Administration, accountable and make sure that they don't. I mean, if I worked in the FDA, I hope, and they get pressured to approve shit that's not ready, they should freaking quit and say, I will not do this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It doesn't matter if the president calls you himself. Like, do not cut freaking corners. Like, of course, we want to get out of this lockdown, but we don't want, to put something that's not ready, because then it becomes a huge problem for vaccinations in general, with people, maybe having a undue hesitation.
We're playing with people's lives, right?
Yeah.
So this can have long-term effects, taking the vaccine. There's a lot of things that can happen to people in the long run. So
I will say this, dude. I interviewed this pulmonologist who works in Northern Virginia, and she's like ICU board certified as well. And she was talking about this, the effects of the coronavirus. Yes, there's the mortality rate, which is fairly low. But what she was talking about was, even if you survive,
you still have after effects.
Yes. Yeah. And your cells aren't able to transport oxygen. There was and it's not just old folks in nursing homes.
No, that's
talking
young kids, people in their 20s. They're getting they're having strokes and things along those lines. I know 3 people that have passed from COVID-19 related issues, right? As a matter of fact, one of my old coworkers, now he's in his he's about to be 70, but his sister's in her 70s, his mom's in late 90s. His sister and his mom both got it. His sister passed away. Okay, his mom beat it. His mom's in her late 90s, right?
Wow.
And she beat it. He goes, my mom's a pit bull, but his sister passed from it. And obviously they're both older people, but then I know younger people that's gotten it too, and their voice doesn't even sound the same. They don't have it anymore, but their voice, it has long-term effects on your body, not just your lungs, but your body. This is no joke.
Yeah, there was a guy who I worked with, and he got tested positive back in February. He was hospitalized and then came out of it. And then I had a meeting with him around July, and he missed it. I was like, okay, whatever. He's like, oh, and then later on, he's like, hey, sorry, I had to reschedule last week's meeting. I had COVID back in February, but I get these relapses where he has massive fatigue. Yep. And I was like, what? I thought you were out of the woods. Now you have the antibodies. You're all good.
No, you can catch it twice.
Yeah.
You can get it twice.
Yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I don't want an unsafe vaccine, I also don't want to live with the risk of having long-term, issues, right?
I had somebody that they actually unsubscribed from my channel because I said, we're at 140,000 deaths, I think, so far in a couple months from COVID-19 and COVID-19 related issues. They didn't which is more than Americans that died in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they said that was a fake fact because it was from MSNBC or something like that. But this thing is no joke, which brings me to my next question for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about masks?
Oh, I am pro masks. Pro masks.
Same.
And my view is that they are have been proven in Japan and many other countries to reduce
1,000 deaths in Japan.
Yeah.
They never shut their economy down. They kept going.
Yeah, those mofos have been wearing masks forever.
And I'm sure they had other regulations and restrictions and stuff, but they never shut their economy down, and they all wore masks.
And the other thing for me about masks is like it's like a sense of respect for your community.
Yes.
So I'll give you a interesting example. Like I was talking to one of my brothers who is a big Trump supporter, and I was video chatting with him, and he had one of those masks with the vent. And I was like, bro, you're defeating the whole purpose of a mask if you're just like exhausting unfiltered into the room with for everybody else. And he's like, oh, well, I can't get it. You know, I won't get other people. So I was like, and then he went into a whole speech about how I couldn't dictate to him about his freedom and all this shit. But
they had the same issue with seatbelts back in the day too.
Yes.
Like listen. You don't have the right to contaminate and affect other people. That's not one of your constitutional rights.
No.
I don't know. Like you said, it's just even if so UPS doesn't force their people to wear masks, right? UPS company doesn't. But my UPS guy, guess what he does? He comes in wearing a mask. He doesn't even believe in that mask. The masks work, and he's a starch Republican, right? He doesn't believe the masks work. But guess what? Because he respects other people, and because he doesn't want to seem like a dick, he wears the mask. He just does it. He don't just because he's like, I'm for the sense of community. For you guys, I'm gonna wear the mask, right? So I have so much. For people that have come to me, they're like, honestly, I don't believe this whole mask shindig, but I'm gonna do it, just out of respect for other people. I appreciate that so much. But then there's some people, there's silly Susans and Karens and touchy Tyrones that don't want to wear the masks.
I don't get it. Yeah, I mean it's like if you're gonna sneeze, you cover your mouth, right? And if you didn't, you'd be kind of a jerk.
Right.
So this is very similar. I think part of the problem moving here from Switzerland, I've noticed that in California we actually have much stricter requirements than the Swiss do. But the difference, I think, is that in Switzerland, even though the masks were only required like indoors in public transportation and some like small indoor areas. The compliance was like damn near 100%. Like the moment they announced it, like everybody was like, okay, they did it.
Small inconvenience.
Yeah. Whereas I think in California, we have this polarization where there are some people who are like hardcore and they actually take it, to as far as they can.
Yeah.
And then there's a small group that are like, F you, I'm not wearing these masks. And it doesn't from a community transmission point, if only 80% play by the rules, like it just screws it for everybody. Then it's like worthless.
And and they're like, oh, it's just the government trying to control us. First of all, if the government really wanted to control you, they wouldn't need you to throw on a mask, right? That the mask is that's not the way they would go, right? They can fucking control you much easier than you throwing on a goddamn mask, right? But it became real political, and I don't know how or why it became political. It just happened out of nowhere. And you're only wearing them I don't know how long people take to shop or whatever, but comparatively to other people like nurses and people that are actually at work at that time, they have to wear the mask for hours, which I don't advocate for wearing the mask for hours. To the point where actually we have to shut down my store. We have a big sign we put up. For like an hour so we can take the masks off and just breathe and do a clean down, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not telling anybody to wear them for a long period of time, but if you're running in the store for 10 minutes and you don't want to wear a mask, I don't know. Like I don't see a good excuse. You're not giving me a good excuse. Like I don't see. I haven't seen a good excuse yet. I haven't seen anybody die because of CO2 within the last couple months because of masks. Well, it's dangerous. The CO2. I haven't seen any CO2 deaths. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been crazy.
I would not be surprised if a lot of the people who insist on not wearing a mask, I also feel like they may have some correlation with the people who, like when you're trying to get a parking spot and they'll just wait, even if the other person's not like leaving, and they'll just block everybody.
Yep.
And because it's like, well, eventually this spot's going to be available and I want it, so I don't care that there's 10 people behind me.
Yep.
And it's just sort of like, come on, man, don't be like that. Like you're kind of screwing it for everybody. Like
for everybody else.
Along.
Really selfish.
If the car in front, if the car is like literally backing out, or you see the brake lights on, so they're like ready to come out, then fine, wait for that spot.
Yep.
But these are also the same type of folks who I think, like, you know, would smoke in restaurants back when non-smoking restaurants was like kind of like a new thing.
Right.
It's like, come on, man, you're just polluting it for all of us.
For
like,
everybody.
Get the hell outside and have your cigarette. I get it, but just go over there, man.
Yeah, it's inconvenient. It's uncomfortable. We get that. But guess what? That's going to happen in life. We're going to be uncomfortable in life at times. We're going to be inconvenienced at times. Not everything is going to be a walk through the daisies, right? This is just one of those bumps in the road that we're going to have to get through. Do what you got to do to get through it and move on. Like, you know, you don't look more patriotic by not wearing a mask. That's not how it's coming off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's been politicized, I mean, you talk about anti-science, like this is clearly a public health thing. Mm-hmm. And like, you know, maybe there's a few % chance that it doesn't help you at all, but like, why do we have to make a point out of this? Like, if it could help, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Exactly. That's why I said, even if you don't believe it in 100%.
Let me show you. Did you see? I've been spending too much time on Twitter this morning. Did you see this video of the person wearing the Nazi mask? Have you heard about that?
No. They were in a store or something?
Yeah, they were in a store. Let me see if I can find it before we wrap up. I've been tweeting too much. There's too much shit here. Hold on.
Tom, and while you're doing that, one of my other things that I'm going to do before 2020 is over with, because I'm going to have an interview with Andrew Yang. I need to make that happen.
Oh, for sure you do. Yes.
That hasn't happened, and I think Yang and I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Have you asked?
I actually haven't asked him. I haven't asked him. I'm not sure who to reach out. Maybe you could reach out. I don't know. Somebody needs to reach out. Paget,
of course.
Matt and Zach.
I'll DM him. I mean, I don't. He and I are not buds or anything, but
right.
I mean, like, look, the bro's locked down too. Like, I'm guessing he must be able to carve out half an hour.
Yeah. We got to make it happen.
And you're an OG supporter, so
OG Yang Gang.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see. I think it's the swastika mask. Let's see if I can find it. It was so nuts. Okay, yes, here. Let me share my screen. Chrome. Come on, here.
Oh, he's in the store. Wow. Oh, she thinks she's so tough too.
I know. Did you see her
Stone Cold Steve Austin walk?
She could pull out a chair.
Oh man. Oh
look at
man.
But she got the cheese puffs. They got a big old container of cheese puffs.
I call her a dangerous Debbie.
And see, he's wearing a Trump t-shirt.
Oh man.
They got the bleach. Looks like they got the bleach and the cheese puffs.
Oh man. But see, okay, they look like, what are they, in a Walmart?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, man. I feel like, I don't know, if they came into my establishment, I don't know, man. I'd be like,
you'd have to use a lot of self-control.
I'd have to use a lot of self-control, brother.
Now, in fairness, what she is saying is that she does not support Hitler or Nazism, but she feels like the requirement the government requiring her to have a mask on is similar to what Hitler did.
Okay. I mean, it's honestly, her wearing that mask is free speech.
It is. It's kind of a dick move, though.
It's a dick. You're a dick. Like, yeah. But it's your free speech. It's your right. I'm not gonna put my hands on you. You know. I'm also not gonna be sad if anybody's calling you out about it, right? Especially if you're running around giving people the middle finger.
Yeah.
All right. So if people get in your face or they use their free speech rights against you as well, then so be it. As long as you don't put your hands on them and they don't put their hands on you. And I think it's a funny, it's an iffy line with companies, because companies might not support that symbolism. So a company may not want you to shop at their business.
Yeah.
Right. So you have the right to express yourself using that Nazi symbol, but companies also have the right, to be against what they might consider hate speech. Right.
Yeah.
And we live in a real cancer culture time right now. So it's a tricky line, man. It's a tricky line. If they didn't get served, if Walmart didn't ring them up, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, they'd be on that shit. You'd be watching it.
Yeah.
Trust
now,
me.
Trumper for Yang is saying, hey, it's not fair that we're showing that a guy's wearing a Trump shirt, that's not a fair representation of Trump supporters. I agree that I'm sure the vast majority of Trump supporters are not in favor of stuff with the swastika. That's what that guy was wearing.
That just happened to go viral. That is just that instance. I know that's not. Listen, this sounds so weird. It's like when you say, "Oh, I have black friends," right? I have friends that are Republicans, right? And they don't act like that, right?
Yeah.
Stark Republicans that we disagree vehemently on stuff, but they don't act like that. They're not wearing swastikas. That is not a representation of all the people who voted for Donald Trump or the Republican Party. They just happened to have gone viral.
I would also say I don't know that couple is like the one couple in America that has that view. I think there are probably a material number of people who are really upset about the requirement to wear masks, and they equate it to some massive government kind of restriction. And my view is like, look, part of it also is if you're not wearing masks and the hospitals get overrun and they can't treat everyone. Like, I almost feel like you should have signed a waiver.
That's like 100. So wait, you're willingly, and I've dropped videos on it. There was the guy that didn't believe in COVID-19 and things like that. He ended up in the hospital. His wife ended up on a ventilator, and now the news is covering him. It's like, it's real, blah, 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 blah. But you're burdening the hospital system right now, right? And all those people that went out, including protesters for Black Lives Matter, all people that went out, if you weren't wearing a mask, right, regardless if you're from the Republican Party, Democratic Party, and you're willingly not wearing a mask, and you get sick, I know it's not merely humanity first to me, but it should be like, I don't know, bro, you weren't wearing a mask, and now you want us to fucking help you, but that's not humanity first, and they have to help you because we're good human beings, and we help other human beings even when they do stupid shit. But you're burdening the hospital. You're burdening the hospitals for no fucking reason, and it's really selfish.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly treat them and triage them based on their need. But if I were overrun and I only had a finite amount of beds available or respirators available, and I think it could be a tiebreaker. If you had two patients equally sick, equally in need of a respirator, and one was like actively protesting against wearing masks and purposely congregating in maskless groups. I don't know. I feel like that's a factor.
I kind of feel like you asked for this. I kind of feel like you were playing Russian roulette and you got the bullet.
Yeah.
But see, but Andrew Yang would never say that.
No, he wouldn't. Now,
I said it's not fair humanity for. That's why Andrew Yang is Andrew Yang, and
That's
I read
right.
my lips.
That's right. That's right. That's why we're not running for president.
We're not running for president because he would absolutely help that person. He'd go out of his way.
He would totally. I think I would do it, but I would probably say, I told you not to do this.
I'm gonna be
I would
talking
let
shit
them
the
know.
whole time. I'm gonna be slamming equipment. I'm gonna be talking shit the whole time.
Yeah.
Side eye, like really? Oh, you want some water? I'll think about it. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, well, look, Ronnie, I really appreciate you coming on to the Nerd Show. It's been long overdue since our last talk about raising money for Yang back in the days when there was a chance he would have been president.
Secure the Yang challenges.
Secure the Yang. Oh my God.
Do you know when I saw him in New Hampshire, he knew that I came in number 5. He was like, "Oh yeah, read my lips. You came in number 5." I was like,
"What?
Oh, we besties now." I was like, "Yo, this is so dope." And Yang knew it. He was like, "Thank you for everything," and he appreciated it. It was so dope. It was really, really cool.
Well,
what a good dude.
We gotta get him on Read My Lips. So yes. I'll send him a DM. I think Trumper is saying he's gonna reach out to Andrew as well.
Okay.
And but Ronnie, you just gotta ask the brother. You just gotta ask him.
I'm asking.
He's I think they may not give you a slot like tomorrow, but
No.
Yeah.
We'd have to like schedule
it, but whatever. Like I'm sure it'll happen. So thank you again for coming on. Is there anything else that you want to hit before we wrap up?
Well, I want to say thank you for inviting me on, Tom. It was a pleasure. I haven't spoken to you. I mean, besides retweets on Twitter and stuff, in so long, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. And the vibe is always so great. And I want to thank everybody, for watching the live stream, and everybody that is subscribed to my channel. Thank you for the views. There's nothing you can get back. There's nothing like time. You can't get that back. So to take time out of your day to watch little old me rant and rave about whatever is so appreciative. So if you haven't subscribed, it's Read My Lips News and Politics on YouTube. Help me hit 4,000 subs. My next upload should be Monday. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody. I appreciate you. You're all family. I love y'all, Yang Gang.
Dude, next time we talk, hopefully we both will have the vaccine.
Right.
And, you go first.
Listen, if I got extra arms and I'm part of the Avengers or the X-Men now, you know why.
But I will tell you what, I will bring 2 boba teas for us.
Oh,
and
yes.
And we will kick back and be plotting for 2024.
Absolutely, brother.
All right, man. Ronnie, it was great having you. And with that, we're going to say goodbye, nerds.
Peace.
No goodbye, nerds.